Hi there. Welcome to Lesson 14. What we're taking a look at this time, I'm actually going to throw in a wee bit of algebraic thinking, and also to just another way that I've worked with integers is thinking about a scoreboard too. So we're going to start with A, just as far as thinking about how you can move these around. It says right here to rearrange things so that we can add or subtract mentally. So on this very first one right here, you can see that this is a positive 1 3/4. We're adding to it a half. We're adding to it a fourth. We're adding to it another half. That all of these are positive numbers because of that, because they're all adding. They're all creating larger number because of combining them. So what you can do with these is think about how they go together. So here's a 4, a 2, a 4, a 2. Oh, a half and a half. You know that's a 1. 1/2 plus 1/2. And then what we're adding to it is right here, 1 3/4 and one more fourth. 3 plus 1 makes 4/4. So when these two combine together, it becomes 1 4/4. 1 4/4. That's 2. So to get our answer, here's your mental math, super easy. Your answer's 3. Now when we take a look at something a tad bit more complicated, let's take a look at C. Scroll on up so we've got some more room here. This one, this is a positive because it doesn't have anything in front of it. This is a takeaway. This is a negative 2 6/7, a negative 2/7, and a negative 5/8. And so one of the ways that I've kind of taught this back when I was doing 7th and 8th grade is I would treat it like if we had a scoreboard and you have two teams. You have the positive team and you have the negative team. And then you figure out who wins in the end. So on this one, we've got the positive team scored 5 and 5/8. And then we see, we can start from the other side even and say that the negative team scored 5/8. So you know how it is. If one team, Team A, gets a point, Team B also gets a point, they kind of cancel each other out, don't they? And so that's exactly what's happening here is this negative 5/8 cancels out this positive 5/8. So the positive team, their entire score now is 5. And let's see what else the negative team's got going here. The negative team also too got 2 6/7, and they also got 2/7. So 2 and 6/7, and they got 2/7. So the negative team, if we go 2 plus 6, it's going to be one more than it takes to have a whole point, right? So that's going to be that gives them 3 points now, and there's one left over. Because we had 8/7, right? 6, 7, 8, 8/7. If you take 7/7 out of there and add it onto your whole number, leaves you one extra left over. So now what we've got is the positive team. We'll go back to blue for the positive team. They had 5 points. The negative team had 3 1/7. So what you can do is think about, well, what do we add? What's the difference between 3 1/7 and 5? So you can use that empty number line idea if you want to. And think, here we are. We're at 3 1/7, and we want to get to 4. And then ultimately we want to get to 5. So if we're at 3 1/7, what if we add 6/7 to that? That's going to become 1/7 and 6/7, 7/7. So it's going to bring us up to 4, right? So now we're at 4. Now we have to add one more whole number to get there. So the difference between the two then is 1 6/7. So, thinking about your positives and your negatives. This one, in order to kind of think about the mental math thing, this right here is a positive, 7/9, and so is 2/9. So we can just go 7/9 plus 2/9. And we're going to get 9/9. And now if we look at these ones right here, this is a positive 1/2 and a negative 3/2. So if we have negative 3/2, and we're going to lose because if this is the negative team, right? The negative team, this is the positive team. They have 1/2. So we know that one of these is going to get canceled out then. So it's going to be negative 2/2. Negative 2/2. Isn't that the same as subtract 1? So this one right here is 9/9. That's the same as a positive 1. We have a positive 1 and a negative 1. They cancel each other out. Our answer, in this case, is 0 because they cancel each other all out in the end. Kind of interesting, huh? All right, let's take a look now. We're going to head on down to number 2, and we're going to do 2C. So on 2C, we're trying to figure out what had to be taken away to get us to this. So this is a positive. So is this. So we can start by combining these together. So if we keep this tenths, it's easy to make 2 into tenths, isn't it? So if we want the denominator of 10, we say 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 5 is 15. And look at, see, this one's top heavy. So is this one. So we're good. So we're going to combine these, 7 tenths and 15 tenths. And so when you think about that, you go 5 more to 15 gets you to 20, 6, 7. So it's going to be 22 tenths is what we have to work with. These two add up to 22 tenths. Now we have to take something away. Because see, here's the negative. We're taking something away. We want to get to 6/5 instead. So let's go ahead and we're going to say 6/5 is going to become tenths. 2 times 5 gets us 10, so 2 times 6 gets us 12. Now we want to figure out what's the difference between them. Well, we know that if we say 12 and 22, there's 10 between them. We know that to be true. So it's 10 tenths between them in order to be true. So let's take a look at what that's going to look like. If we had the 7 tenths and the 15 tenths, and we got 22 tenths, right? Now, if we say we're going to take away 10 tenths, we know that the difference between 10 and 22 is 12. Our denominator is 10 in this case, because we're looking at these two right here. Now, when we go through and we divide them by 2, because this is what we're shooting for as our answer, with 6/5. If we cut both of these in half, half of 12 is 6, half of 10 is 5. All right, let's take a word problem real quick. Let's look at the ribbon. So here we are. We've got Laura. She bought. So she has. That's the positive column, right? She has 8 3/10. Here's another way to do it. If we draw the ribbon, we can look at that too. She's got 8 3/10 of a yard of ribbon. Now she's going to use some of it, so it's going away. So that's negative. It's going to go away. 1 2/5 she's going to use. So we can look at on our ribbon here, go negative, taking it away, 1 2/5. Messy 5. Hope you can still read it. And that I made this little mark over here I need to erase. Let's get this out of here. Gone. Okay. Back to the pen. And so the next thing, so she used 1 2/5 to tie a package. And then she used 2 3/3 more, 2 1/3 more, minus 2 1/3 more to make a bow. And then after she did all of that, she's over here now. We don't know where she's at, but yep, it's over here somewhere. This guy, he's going to give her some more ribbon. 4 3/5 of a yard. So that's also a positive then, isn't it? And so over here on our scoreboard, we took care of this one. We took care of this one. We need to take care of this one now. 2 1/3, and she used it. So it's over here in the negative. 2 1/3. So we've counted for that one. Now this Joe guy, he gave her some, so it's going to be in the positive. 4 3/5. So if we combine these, if we take a look at how much did she use? Well, we have 2 plus 1 is 3. Oh, wait. We do have to go common denominators, don't we, on that one? So I'm going to do that one in blue, just because. So I know we've got 1 2/5 and we've got 2 1/3. I'm going to go with 15ths. So if we're making them both into 15ths, 5 times 3, 2 times 3, 6. 3 times 5, so 1 times 5. And so we're combining, these are all our negatives. And so when we look at this, it's going to be 5 and 6 is 11. What's the denominator? The denominator is down, 15. 1 and 2 combine to make a 3. And now if we look at these ones over here, I can just use 10 as my common denominator for them. So this one stays exactly the same, 3/10. I don't have to go 5 times 10 and go all the way to 50, because I know 5 times 2 just gets me 10, so it's much easier to work with. So the 4 stays the same because it's a whole number. We're going to go to 10. 5 times 2 is 10. 3 times 2 is 6. Now when we combine these, here's what we get. We have 4 and 8, which gets us 12. We have 6 and 3, which gets us 9. So 12 and 9/10. So here's what we're going to do is we're going to say this is the positive team. Positive team is 12 and 9/10. And the negative team, so we're subtracting, finding the difference, 3 and 11/15. We've got to make common denominators, so let's go ahead and say 30. We'll say 30. So this is a 12. Here's our 30. We keep our 3, and here's our 30. 15 times 2 is 30. 2 times 11 is 22. 10 times 3 is 30. 9 times 3 is 27. Now we figure out what's the difference. 11, 10, 9. And we know 9 plus 3 would get us 12 if we went backwards. 27 and 22, 7, 6, 5. 5/30. 5/30. We can simplify that. 9 stays the same. 5 goes into itself once. 5 times 6, 5 goes into 30 6 times. So now when we look at this right here, if we were going to say take away from this, if we're taking away 2/5, that's the same as 4/10, right? But see, here's where it gets kind of more complicated, because then you'd have to actually turn that into 30 so that this would be a common denominator. So you keep the 2, and if you're saying to 30, that's going to be 10 times 3. 1 times 10 is 10. So this right here combines and becomes, here's what you're taking away. You have taken away from that 2 and 14 tenths. 2 and 14 tenths. And then we come down here and we're going the other direction now. So we went down 2 and 14 tenths. So if we work that, it's 8 and 3 tenths minus 2 and 14 tenths. So what you can do, you can't take 14 away from 3. So this has to become a 7. This becomes 13 because 10 makes a whole plus 3, 13 tenths. And can we still take away 14? Still no. This has to become a 6 then. This becomes 23. 23 minus 14 tenths then. So we know that that's going to be 4, and 14 and 23 are 9 apart. 9 tenths, 4 and 9 tenths. Now we have to combine 4 and 3/5. So we've got 4 and 9 tenths, and we're going to add to that. We keep our 4. If we're going to make it into tenths, 5 times 2 is 10, so 3 times 2 is 6. So we're going to end up with 4 and 4 is 8, 9 and 6 is 15 tenths, and I know 10 tenths makes a whole. This would be 9 and 5 tenths, which is coming out different than what this one was, but we're really close. So I would trust this one because this one got way too complicated and silly. So as far as kind of thinking about how to do this, I hope this is really helpful. Thinking about the positive team and the negative team, and then you figure out who won the game. The positive team obviously won. You just want to figure out by how much. Whew, this was the longest video I've ever made. 17 minutes. Here's your problem. Pick one. Pick one. Thanks. Bye.